Girls, dudes and dudettes and bambinos to you know what time it is. It's 2:30 on Wednesday, the 4th of December. That's right, the build up to Christmas, as we know, has begun. And we're going to be talking FPL Fantasy Premier League, and in particular, the next game week, because we've already started game week 14, haven't we? We had 2 games yesterday, and we've got a big set of matches today and then a couple tomorrow. Without any further ado, let's go straight in at the deep end and let's have a look at what is going on the fantasy football world FPL. So I've already set my team for game week 15 purely because, as we know, game week 14 is underway. Match number 1 and 2 have already been concluded. Crystal Palace beat Ipswich and Leicester beat West Ham. I've given you our predictions in the previous part about what I think is going to happen this evening and tomorrow. So part 7, check that one out. But yes, basically the way I see it is very simple. The team sort of picks itself within reason because obviously my Liverpool assets are out. Kwanzaa, I don't think is going to start. I'd love him to start a match or two just to prove himself again because he was really, really good last season, wasn't he? In patches when Konate was out, but Gomez seems to be Slot's favourite. So I've already, as you guys saw a minute ago, set the team up pretty much. I've gone back to Raya in goal. Though both teams have okay fixtures, I think Fabianski will concede against Wolves. He conceded 3 against Leicester, so yeah, I don't think I'll be making that mistake again. So Raya straight back into goal for the game against Fulham away. We got Lewis playing Crystal Palace, so I think it might be an okay match. Dragusin, I'm looking to shovel out this week. I've got a free transfer for the next game week. It will most likely be back to Dunk again, so I'm going to monitor Dunk's price. If he drops, bring him in. If he doesn't drop, potentially bring him in anyway, because providing it keeps going down that price predictor, because my concern the other day, as you guys saw when I put it up, and even yesterday and now this morning, is that he's due to change price very soon. So it might be all dependent on his game against Fulham when Brighton play Fulham. If he starts, if he scores, if he does well, clean sheet, that kind of thing, you can see it dropping heavily, almost to the opposite scale where Dunk might go up in price. Tottenham face Chelsea. They are at home. But I don't fancy them to keep a clean sheet. I am forced to play Colwell because of my lack of defenders due to the Liverpool sort of injury issue to Konate. So unless I make big changes and kick out Konate and bring another player, the chances are I'll start with that 3 at the back, not Dragusin, obviously. Raya, Colwell and Lewis will start. Dragusin will be transferred out likely for Dunk again. Back fourth. Hey, why not? The midfield pretty much is set in stone, bar once again that decision between Rodgers and Jorginho Rutter. Neither are particularly prolific. You could argue Jorginho has been more consistent throughout the season so far. Rodgers has done well in bursts, like one every 2 or 3 or 4 games he actually does something. Jorginho seems to get small trickles of points, usually 2s, sometimes a 3, then a 5 suddenly out of nowhere, then nothing, then a goal from out of nowhere. It's very inconsistent, but erratic from both players. So the other 3 are set in stone pretty much. Saka's 100%, Salah's 100%, and Brennan Johnson is a definite. Currently got the armband on Mo Salah. Liverpool face Everton, Merseyside derby at Goodison, so that'll be interesting, but he usually does quite well against them, and Everton aren't exactly phenomenal at the moment. Vice captain is on Haaland right now. Though I might change it to Saka, but it doesn't really matter because let's be quite honest, Salah's starting, Salah's playing unless he gets injured, and Salah's probably going to score against Everton, isn't he? So almost a set in stone thing. Nicholas Jackson naturally will be playing against Tottenham. I reckon he might get a goal in that one. It's a tricky one though against Tottenham, a London derby over there. But I reckon Nicholas Jackson might do something, as will Cole Palmer in that one. And then we've got Wissa, haven't we? Who I think might do okay against Newcastle. Whether he gets a goal or assist, maybe we'll see on that one. Fabianski to the bench. Jorginho Rutter sitting on the fence with him. Maybe a swap for Rodgers. It's just a question of whether I fancy Villa versus Southampton or whether I fancy Brighton away to Leicester. Interesting one. What I will do though, it doesn't really matter too much. I might swap Kwanzaa over for Konate just because, let's be honest, Konate is not going to magically get fit again for the Everton match on the weekend at all. So it might be worth just playing with that obvious thing. But as it stands, that is my game week 15. So game week 15 is Saturday, 7th of December, 11 o'clock cut-off. Don't forget in the morning. So get your teams in before then, before the first kickoff, which is the Merseyside derby at 12:30. I will talk a little bit more about game week 15 in depth on the Friday live stream. So I've got a Friday live stream at 10 o'clock and at 2:30. The socials, guys, just to give you a heads up, as always, I'm on Facebook, AJP85-channel. I'm on X, which seems to be where a lot of the interactions come in terms of things that are going on. X is AJ1985P. I'm on Twitch, which is one of the live stream sources, A_J_P_P_8_5. Otherwise, the main route to live streams on my videos is YouTube, which is AJ Hardy 85. Yes, it is. Like, subscribe, and follow, people. Why are you not doing it? Come on, if you do it, I will like, subscribe, and follow back. Potentially, maybe not subscribe, but definitely like and follow. So do it. Let's be special friends. Come on, people. Don't be afraid. Don't be weird, like I am. I did put a poll out on X. It is available until around about 8 o'clock this evening. The poll essentially is, what do I think the scoreline, or what do you think, more importantly, the scoreline is going to be? Is it going to be a victory for Arsenal? Is it going to be a victory for Manchester United? Is it going to be a draw? A few votes already in at the moment. As it stands, a bit of a shocker. I don't know if people are just doing this to humour me or whatever it is, but as it stands, 66% of you think that Manchester United are going to win versus 33% who think that Arsenal are going to win. No draws so far. So interesting. You still got time to vote. Do so. Jump on there, press the button. Let me know your scoreline, score prediction in the comments as well. Don't be just pressing buttons. I know it's very easy for you this day and age, isn't it? You Gen Zs in general, and just people on socials, just to press a button and go vote. That's it. Yes, no, and then move on. Don't do it. Don't do it. Interact, people. Where's the communication gone? Put a little comment on there to say, I think Man United are going to win by whatever. I think Arsenal are going to win by whatever. I think the draw is going to be 1-1, 2-2, 0-0, whatever you think. Let me know you think it's going to score even, is it going to be Saka scoring today? Is it going to be Havertz that I think might get involved? Odegaard, I think, will be involved today quite a bit. The defenders, Gabriel is the hot shot, isn't he, really, when it comes to corners for United? It's Rashford potentially, Fernandes maybe could do something. Struggling with the rest of the team because they are a bit up and down is the nicest way to put it. They've been very, very average this season, but we'll see. Maybe a lot of you people think that just because Man United have been average this season, they might beat Arsenal today at the Emirates. I'd be interested to see if that's the case, wouldn't it? That, in my opinion, though I think Man United are a bit of a bogey team, that would be a bit of an upset if Man United beat Arsenal at the Emirates. If they draw, it'd be a little surprise, but okay. If they lose, then that's kind of what I'm expecting. I'm expecting Arsenal to win, not just because I'm a Gunners fan, but I look at form, I look at the players, I look at where the team is right now versus Man United in general. But as I said before, United have been a bit of a pain in Arsenal's backside for a while, so and I don't think they're going anyway. And Amorim, what I'm actually more interested in about that match is to see how Amorim sets up Man United to play against Arsenal away at the Emirates. It'd be interesting to see what he does. Does he carry on with the same formation he's been doing? I think he's been back three so far, two wing backs, and then the rest of it sort of picks itself within reason. Rashford seems to be always playing, and Fernandes as well, doesn't he? So it would be interesting whether they go Højlund up front as well, Xerxes. Who knows? Seems to be Diallo, doesn't it, on that right-hand side? And he's a player I've been looking at actually on fantasy. I've saved him in my watch list as an option. If I do bring Diallo in, it'll be because I get fed up of Rodgers, or because I get fed up of Jorginho Rutter, or maybe if one of them gets injured or they stop playing more frequently. Can't see Rodgers not playing for Villa, but I can see Jorginho Rutter being rested. And that's where the concern comes, because if he gets kicked out, I'm down to next to no one on the bench, aren't I, really? Kanate, as it stands, is out injured. Kwanzaa is a backup of a backup, but he's an enabler for 3.9. So that leaves me with, let's say, Jorginho Rutter doesn't play 1 week. That leaves me with Jorginho Rutter, isn't it? Out. So that's my three substitutes picked for me without me getting a say, really, isn't it? And then the goalkeeper's probably going to be Fabianski. So I've got to be quite careful with that side of things, really. I know my team is very much, without a doubt, on the edge, isn't it, really? I'm living with the idea of getting all the best players that I can at this particular moment into the team, bar Dragusin, who will be out soon, for Dunk or Martinez or whoever I choose to bring in. What I might do is keep that rotational every week look at who's playing who and transfer them out because I haven't got any other injury worries bar Kanate. I might play Russian roulette with that one. In terms of Dragusin, Dunk, next week someone else, next week someone else, as long as they're within the 4.3 million price bracket. That is my intention in general. So moving on slightly from that, players that are in form at the moment, players that you should be looking to bring in this week. For game week 15. Now, we can't work off much from the game week itself because we've just started it. Yesterday was the first set of fixtures. Today is going to give us an idea. But quite frankly, you shouldn't need this game week to work out who's in form and who you should bring in. I've spoken about Wood. Big question, is he going to keep his form up? I think he's going to still keep scoring. I don't think he'll be scoring at the rate he's doing. I actually think he's probably above what we expect from Chris Wood for Nottingham Forest. So when I talk about strikers, straight up there, he's a player that I was looking at early doors. Don't know why I didn't bring him in. I thought personally it wouldn't carry on his purple patch in his form. It did. On top of that, the defence, while we're talking Nottingham Forest, has been pretty decent, hasn't it, really? If you don't already have a Forest player, Milenkovic is probably your man to go to, isn't he, really, for that 4.5 million price bracket if you want a cheap option. I think he's sort of involved to a degree with set pieces, but he doesn't seem to score. It's Aina, isn't it, really, on the one side, who essentially people are looking at to bring in. Have already brought in, let's say, as well. Sells the goalkeeper. People have already got him as a goalkeeper. So really, when it comes to defenders, you're struggling a little bit on the left side. Spoke about it in the previous part. Is it Nico Williams? Is it Alex Moreno? Who's your left back, Forest? Let me know. I haven't got a clue. It seems to change every few weeks. I would have thought it's Alex Moreno personally, but there you go. No idea. And the reason I say it is because I plan to bring him in. So is it Moreno? Is it Nico Williams? No idea. So form-wise, going into the next match, said a minute ago about Nottingham Forest, they got Man United. So maybe depends how United do against Arsenal. If they struggle or if they concede, you could see them conceding again potentially against Forest. The only thing is they are at home, so that might be the only thing that swings it in United's favour. Players obviously for this game week who I think are going to do well. Let's ignore the first two fixtures because they've been played. I spoke about Everton. I think Everton's. Everton. A lot of people said Mikalenko. Mikalenko's the man to go to for your defender. I can see, by the way, that Keane is being kicked out as well, hasn't he? I'm assuming that Branthwaite's officially 100% fit, or at least playing alongside Tarkowski now. So yes, Mikalenko, people with your poll telling me to bring him in as well. Please don't dodge that. Mind you, the difference is I would have got some more points, perhaps an extra point from Mikalenko last week. In fact, what did Mikalenko get? Because I brought in Dunk, if you remember, didn't I? Well, there you go. If I'd have brought in Mikalenko, I would have got 0. So, see, I beat all your opinions, didn't I? And then there was Hall. Everyone was saying, get Lewis Hall in, get Lewis Hall. Lewis Hall's the man to go to as an alternative. Lewis Hall would have got me an extra point. I think, let's have a look. What did Hall get? Yeah, Hall got 2. I got 1 from Dunk's substitution, didn't I? So, yeah, Dawson was another player. We said, I was sitting on the fence with, well, Dawson would have got me 0. So, there you go. I made the right decision in the end, to a degree, and maybe Hall. But again, if I'd have brought Hall in, I would have had to worry about Hall versus Liverpool. Newcastle versus Liverpool, wouldn't I? So, So Mikalenko against Wolves are going to concede, and I don't think they're going to do well. So thinking about next week, I'll go into more depth. These are fixtures for that weekend. Saturday you've got a fair few. Sunday I've got some good ones as well, and then Monday match also West Ham Wolves. That's interesting. So looking at the weekend, obviously everyone's going, oh, Merseyside derby. Quite frankly, if you're not thinking Liverpool are going to win, then I don't know what you. I know derbies are unpredictable sometimes. They're heated. They are 1,000 miles an hour, aren't they? Really, it's crazy moments. And it is Everton at home at Goodison, but it makes a difference to me. Quite frankly, no Everton assets for that game. No Everton assets for the game after. No Everton assets for the game after that as well. No Everton assets for the game after that as well. So, you're looking, even then Forest could score against them right at the end of December. So you're looking January before you start thinking about Everton, in my opinion. You really are. So unfortunately, Toffees fans, I'm not giving you a hope, even today against Wolves this evening. Nah, not for me. Wolves, I think, are one of those teams that can score at least a goal. If you're very lucky, Everton fans, you'll be getting a draw today, even at home. And I think today is also the day that we're going to see the robot turn up. We're going to see Haaland do something finally, and then people will start to stand up and go, okay, Haaland, there's an option. So from that perspective, I am one of the holders in terms of holding Erling Haaland. I am holding him. I'm probably holding him for the season. I can't see if I kick him out. What do I do? I probably change Nicholas Jackson for Palmer, and then bring in who? Bring in Wood, maybe a big player. I say big player scoring at the moment. Welbeck. It's dried up a tiny bit, hasn't he? Welbeck. Purple patch is finished. Which other striker? Solanke. Really? Brennan Johnson versus Solanke? I think Johnson wins that, doesn't he, really? I mean, this is what I'm trying to say. I look at who you bring in who's better than what you've already got. I mean, Haaland, the irony is Haaland hasn't scored much recently as he's been pretty average, and yet he sits quite comfortably at the top of the league. Despite the fact that we're all raving about Wood and how great Wood is and the form that he's in and how great Cunha is. Must have Cunha, got to have Cunha in the team. Really? And then Welbeck, people went through a phase of having him as well. So you basically, in my opinion, you're getting Haaland and even now other forwards. And I've said it in part 7, getting Haaland back in is more tricky than just keeping him. Same with Salah. A lot of people would say at the early stages, do we bring Salah in? Do we have Salah in the team? It's easier to have him in than trying to mess about with your whole team and wreck it. Because this team, okay, you're looking at going, you might think it's nothing special. You might think it's quite good. I don't know. But I got 82 points last week, which is quite good. So this team will get absolutely destroyed to pieces if I had to take out Haaland, bring someone else, and then go, oh no, he started scoring. I've got to get him back in again. He's 15.2, 3, 4, 5. That could mess up the whole dynamic. So I'm being a bit stubborn with my team, at least until New Year. Now, I did get asked a question in a DM, and I'll do this as the final part of this sort of segment of this part 8 live stream. I got asked a question: if I could start again, and I had a wild card, which I've already used, I'm afraid, my first wild card. There will obviously be another, and there's a mystery chip. We'll talk about the mystery chip closer to in December, sort of towards the mid-end of December, in some of the parts. But if I had another wild card again, and they gave me the first one back again, what would I do to change this team? Who would I change? What would I do differently? If the price is also reset back to their original pricing, what would I do? Hindsight's a funny thing, isn't it, really? It was an interesting question. I'm quite pleased. So thank you, Matt, for that question. So don't forget to follow and subscribe and like as well, because I get these messages and no one actually does the bits. So yeah, on the socials, but do like, subscribe, and follow. You know how it works, people. And then at least we can communicate, interact. I'm not trying to be the greatest content creator in the world, but I am live. All here is me, mouse, headset, laptop. I'm in the conservatory, which is slowly starting to get a bit dark, but I should be able to squeeze this in before 5-2, and it gets pitch black round here. But yeah, the answer to your question is, who would I have written? So well, let's have a look, shall we? Let's have a look at the highest scoring players and see what prices they are really quickly. So, goalkeeper wise, would I have kicked out Raya? No, I wouldn't. Would I kick out Fabianski? No, probably not. Maybe Raya for Sells if I'd known in hindsight that Forest were going to be good. But I like my goalkeeper to be a bit of a set and forget. So even going right back to the beginning when we were setting our teams in the summer, before sort of August, September time, I would have probably kept Raya and kept Fabianski, so that wouldn't have changed. Defence-wise, though, might have changed a little bit. You only have to merely look at what's happened in terms of the defenders. So first and foremost, I probably would have got Konate a little bit earlier if I'd have known he was going to start the season well. Another player I probably would have brought in is Murillo. I haven't mentioned him just yet. He's 4.6, so he's a bit more than Milinkovic. But I probably would have got Murillo from the start. I would say pretty much yes, I would have done that. Lewis, I would have got a little bit earlier, potentially. I'm just thinking of that price bracket, really, that 4.5. So I wouldn't have probably changed that defence much. And then Kwanzaa, I probably would have had maybe Keane early on. You know, the 4 million Everton defender that's no longer, well, I say 4 million, he's not 4, is it 4.1 now, 4.2? That guy, I don't even know where he is now. Where is Keane in the system? Where is he in the pricing? Or even the, so yeah, 4.2 right now. I got 30 points. So I probably would have brought Keane in and had him alongside them guys as well. And then the final 4.5, and I'm not just going off points here as well. I'm going off people I had in my watch list, because I did actually have a few players saved in my watch list. Probably Mazraoui. I think in hindsight, that final defensive spot would have gone Mazraoui probably, instead of, the Dunks and the Dragusins and all those players and the Martinez. Mazraoui, I think his price increase is fair. He's done fairly well, and he seems to be a mainstay. And I've just read actually about Shaw having a setback to his injury, so he's not going to come back in the next few weeks. So even then, that makes Mazraoui a shoehorn into the team straight away, doesn't it, for a bit longer? So then we move over to midfield. What would I have changed in the midfield? So immediately, Palmer and Nicholas Jackson. Those two, I might have, I say swapped around. I might have tried to get Palmer in and not bothered with Nicholas Jackson. Because despite the fact that I like Jackson, he's done really well, and I hope he maintains his form and his goal scoring form. Not because of selfish perspective, but I think he's a good player. I really do. Last season he was missing loads, and this season he seems to be converting, which is great. So yes, I would have probably liked to have found a way of swapping those two round. But this is the problem when you bring in such a high-profile, expensive midfielder. You have to compensate for that, sacrifice the forward. So if I'd have brought Palmer in, my forward would have been a 4.5, a Stewart from Southampton, wouldn't it really? Or someone like that who's not even playing. So yeah, so that would have been a bit of an awkward one, really. So immediately, if I'd have done that, on the bench would have been Keane. Probably it would have been Stewart for 4.5 midfielder, and then as a result of that, I'd have also had to have maybe a 4.5 midfielder in Winks, or yeah, probably even would. I think Winks is the main 4.5, isn't he, right now? That you bring in terms of enablers for the midfield. Yeah, Winks, Dibbling. Well, Dibbling's suspended, but again, Dibbling's a bit of an odd one, because he did okay for like a game, and everyone fell over themselves to get him, and he did nothing really after that. So probably Dibbling, if I'd have known he was going to play. Lavia's been playing the odd game for Chelsea. So again, 4.5 would have been there. So it would have been Saka, Salah, Palmer, and then 4.5, 4.5. So yeah, so you're looking at Winks and Lavia, or Winks and Dibbling both benched. So it would have been playing a 4-4-2, possibly. Yeah, because Stewart wouldn't have played. I would have had to play one of the 4.5s, wouldn't I? So there you go. So in hindsight, there you go. That's what I would have done. I probably kept Wisa and Haaland starting the season. So yeah, but talk about hindsight. I'm not interested in that, because I quite like my team right now. I do. I don't hate it. And a lot of people would say, "Oh, you haven't got Palmer. Your team's not that good, is it? Or you haven't got so and so because your team's not good. Where's Mbuemo? Your team's not that good. Where's Wood? Your team's not that good." But it's under the radar. I'm not like 10,000th in the world, or third, in the world, or anything like that. But when it comes to picking your team, you've got to be fairly content with it. Perhaps I'm being a bit stubborn, but I'm not one of those people that chases form, because form can be temporary, can change the blink of an eye. So that team I'm happy with. You will see here the team that I've set for 15. It might change come Friday. I've got a live stream at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then at 2:30. So tune in, as always, with the socials. Facebook, AJP85 channel, AJP85 channel. That's Facebook. X, AJ1985P. I'm on Twitch, A_J_P_8_5. Do like and subscribe and follow me on Twitch as well, if you would. And on YouTube, of course, coming to you live as an alternative, AJ Hardy 85. Like, subscribe, and share, and follow, and comment, and do these things. Interact with me, because I'd love to chat to you guys as always. So I will end this live stream with you guys seeing my live team for game week 15. Not a massive amount will change until then, but at least you can see it there right this second. So guys, join me at 10 o'clock on Friday, the day before the deadline, and we will talk about game week 15 in even more detail, what I think the scores are, predictions wise, as always. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll stick this up on YouTube a bit later on. Check it out. But otherwise, take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Enjoy your Thursday. Some good fixtures tonight. Man U, Arsenal in particular, Newcastle, Liverpool. And I will see you guys on Friday at 10. Take it easy. I've been AJ.